Welcome back to another episode of Meredith with a Y. I am your host, Meredith Willits, and today we have the amazing Janet Hammond in studio. She's going to be talking about all the things. She's going to talk about Mounjaro and the new diet, shot that she's on, and also her tummy tuck. So stay with us. Hello, everyone. This is Meredith with a Y, and I am your host, Meredith Willits. Today, we are going to go deep, changing lives, and I am giving you the keys to the castle. Janet, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to dive into this today.
Thanks for having me.
This is going to be great because I've known you for 102,622 years. So I said right before we started, can I ask you all the tough questions? Because I think there's so much stigma around the shots and, the tummy tucks and all that stuff. And you are allowing me to tell everyone that your beautiful self is going to be 55 years old tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And so and you're in the beauty industry. So let's get into this today. I'm excited.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Crazy. So let's roll back even further. What made you say, I need to do something? Where were you at in your life where you're like, I need to do something because I can't lose weight, quote unquote, the natural way?
Well, I think looking at pictures, everything is on social media and it's in our face with all the memories that are posted when you look back, and you can see the progression of your body. You can see your life and it's in your face, and no matter where you go, you can't escape it. So I think when my daughter passed away almost 2 years ago, I had been looking back at pictures a lot for her funeral to see the pictures of her. And then it hit me, wow, you need to get control of yourself. She would want it for you. So I think that was a big part of it, just seeing myself. And then my granddaughter came over and my husband took a slow motion video of us jumping into the pool. It was not good.
Reality is a bitch.
It is. And I said,
cameras are
good.
Yeah.
That was my final, I got to do something.
Yeah. And so did you reach out for help to your primary care physician or did you see, so you went to the primary care and they did the whole blood workup, or did they just weigh you, or how'd that go?
They did all of it. They said, you're in perimenopause and your hormones change and everything slows down, your metabolism. And I had seen something about Mounjaro on TikTok. Mm-hmm. So I don't care what anybody's opinion is about social media, but there are good things that come from it. I mean,
we know everything from everything.
I love all the information you're giving people. I think it's fantastic. So that was it. And then I saw that they had a coupon at the time for $25 a month. I couldn't afford $1,200. So I got it the original for $25 a month. I took the information into my doctor, my primary care, and she's like, we've tried everything else. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
No pun. But so we did it. And within 6 months, I was down to my goal weight. I have lost 55 pounds.
Wow.
So I'm at my goal weight of about 135-ish. And I feel so much better about myself.
Yeah.
My husband, our relationship is better because I'm not so down on myself for that.
Yeah. And I think that's what people, so, everyone has something to say, right? and it's like, you didn't do it the hard way. Why there's something, and I think that comes from the old boomer generation, or the generation of the Depression, where you have to do it the hard way, or it's not worth it. I actually have a relative that I tease, and I'm like, if you're not suffering, you don't love me. That is a mentality, right?
Right.
And so, a lot of people look at maybe gastric bypass and say, okay, well, you did it the easy. I don't know if anyone knows this, but not eating is not the easy way, because I know that there are negative side effects to the shot. Some people experience nausea, some people experience other things. And so it's not that it's the easy way. Also, when you're not hungry, that's probably kind of like weird because that's the
Mhm.
idea, right? It kind of makes you not hungry.
Yeah.
Yes?
It makes you it actually the one that I'm on, the Mounjaro, is a triple agonist. From the research I've done and the communication I've had with my doctor, it does shut off some things in your brain. So when you're full, you're just done. You
Yeah.
don't have the cravings for the sweets. You don't have that mindset of just keep shoveling it in. When you're done, you're literally done. And I started some different things myself, like between bites of food, I put my fork down
Hmm.
and I chew it and I actually enjoy the food. And that makes it easier to get fuller faster. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And when you're talking about that, I find that so cool because you are actually using Manjaro as a tool to maybe
Mhm.
like recover from
Mhm.
binge eating or
Yes.
retrain yourself so that
Yep.
when you're off of it, you might have the voice in your head that says,
Mhm.
keep eating, but you have been really working at this for 6
Yes.
months to really change some behaviors.
Mhm. So now I've been on it over a year and I'm spacing it out to find my maintenance dosage. And now that they have the new medication called Zepbound that was just approved for specific weight management, weight loss, obesity, and all the other things, they're finding that these other medications are having other positive side effects. Like I said, as far as the hunger and the addictions, because food can be an addiction, which
100%.
I found out the hard way. I would just eat even though I'm like, why did I just eat that? It didn't really even taste good.
Yeah.
Why am I doing that? And I never really was a big drinker, but now I drink even less. I think this weekend I had a glass of wine.
Yeah.
I
They're
just
saying that
don't.
it's helping people with alcoholism.
Yep.
For many, I'm sure it's that addictive brain. I'm sure it's
Right.
the, you know, that sugar
Hmm.
call.
The
Um,
cravings.
yeah, so I think that we're seeing that there's some voice that is kind of quieted.
Hmm.
Now, I've also talked a lot about the fact that, 80 plus percent of our serotonin lives in our stomach.
Hmm.
And serotonin is that feel good, life is
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
drug that we all thought, serotonin is in our brain, but actually the majority of it is our stomach. Now, when
Hmm.
I did a reading, if people don't know, I'm a psychic medium channel. And when I was doing a medical reading on one of my clients, she's like, just scan me. And I'm like, all right. And I couldn't find her stomach. And I'm
Hmm.
like, "Did you have gastric bypass? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, why don't I see your stomach? You have to tell me because I don't know why I don't see her stomach. I
Yeah.
just know I don't." And so she's like, "Well, do you want me to tell you?" I'm like, "Yeah." So she said, "I'm on one of the shots."
Okay.
And I was like, "Wow, that's cool," because energetically her body was showing that she didn't have a stomach, which would make sense that her stomach then wasn't calling for food.
Yes.
So, looking at your personal experience, is that how you would describe it? Is that your stomach, your I need to feel good right now, your I will feel better if I have a cookie or a glass of wine? Was that voice shut down?
Yeah, definitely. And it's also the cravings and that hand to mouth comfort. When people smoke, that's also part of it because I quit like 13 years ago.
Mhm.
And it's just that constant movement. So I find myself with a protein shake or a bottle of water or something like
Water,
that
yeah.
just to help that out. I
Yeah.
haven't switched it from one to another, like eating that much, but I definitely do enjoy food differently now. Like my husband just said, "Do you want to go to dinner for your birthday tomorrow?" I was like, "Okay," but I know going into the restaurants, I think differently about the food that I'm going to order.
Yeah. I just went out with another couple and my husband on Saturday and we went to this beautiful steakhouse downtown
Mhm.
Chicago and I ordered a salad. Like I order a wedge. Like
Yeah,
that's my like, oh my gosh, I
yeah.
get to have a wedge and I don't have to make
Mhm.
it. So it's
Right.
like for me I'm not like I might have a bite of someone's steak at the
Mhm.
table, which I didn't. But yeah, everything about food. Now I personally am not on any shots.
Mhm.
I'm on metformin, which kind of is like a sugar regulator.
Yes.
And so that is probably in line
It
with what you're
does.
doing, in just a
Yeah.
different way.
My doctors, my insurance specifically has something called a step therapy. So they
Uh-huh.
want you to go on the different medications, and if they fail, then they put you through to the next one. Well, I didn't do that because my insurance wasn't involved in this. But now,
Uh,
because the new is covered for the weight loss, I'm afraid they're going to make me go through that. So I'm waiting for the new savings card to come out, and then I'll get that, and I'll do that for a year. But my insurance said that, isn't it sad we have to think about what the insurance says?
yeah,
But
approves.
but they told me that I will get approved for it because I've already been on it, and this is going to be a maintenance, and it's worked for me. It's proven to work for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and the thing is, like, all whatever anyone says about, I mean, now granted, I did not years ago, I was put on, phentermine, which was
mhm,
not good for me. It's like speed kinda,
yeah,
and that is not, because 'cause I'm a very even keel person, so it
yeah,
made me way too whatever. But the amount of health issues that are fixed, I think, far outweigh any possible negative
yeah,
that anything brings into your life.
mhm,
So, like, whatever anyone says about the shot or metformin, which is proven to be completely, like, basically benign and actually helps with cell regeneration and cell health, but high blood pressure, diabetes,
mhm,
being obese, carrying the what your heart has to pump. Look up and Google, people, how hard your heart has to pump. It's like for every 10 pounds, your heart has to pump blood through like an additional like 5 miles of
yes,
veins. It's
yes,
mind blowing
it is.
how
Mhm,
much. And, like, we just got this new puppy, and I'm schlepping this dog around on walks because she can only do about a mile, and so there's no way she's doing 3 miles with me, and so I carry her, and she's 8 pounds, and it makes a difference. I'm like,
yeah,
"God, I've lost, like, 35 pounds. I've lost, like, 4 puppies."
isn't that crazy? I know.
Weight,
Mhm,
and so and you just feel better, you don't feel like, and that's the thing, I think, where we're at in this podcast, in this series, is, and because you've lost this amount of weight recently, I think this
mhm,
is a great topic. And you can speak to this easily, is the difference between body positivity. So, like, I think it was important for me to love myself at my higher weight. It's important for you to love yourself through the higher weight, the middle weight, the goal weight,
yeah,
all the different things. I think, yes, you should be. I love myself because that inspires change. It
right.
inspires self care and self love and keeping your
Mhm,
promises to yourself. But I do believe that we need to understand that body positivity and being blind to the fact that being 30, 50, 80, 100 pounds overweight is not a positive.
right, right.
It's not a
It's amazing
positive.
the things that you can do and the way you see yourself differently as you lose weight and you start feeling better about yourself. Right now,
Yeah.
my biggest problem, I think, is I still see myself in that heavier weight. When I look in the
Mhm.
mirror, I have that dysmorphia. I still see myself at almost 190 pounds.
Yeah.
And, there are certain things, and we are our own worst critic. I don't care what anybody says. We are the
Yep.
hardest on ourselves. And so there are times when I'll catch myself in the mirror and I'll be like, not really a fan of that, So I'm the only person that can change it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm working on.
Yeah. And no one's coming
Mhm.
to save you. That to me is the biggest sentence in the whole world. Like,
Mhm.
no one's coming to make you drink the water, go for the walk
Right.
today, or eat the right food. And I think that, like, it's so important that people understand that it's not about being thin, it's about ease of movement,
Mhm.
joint pain or
Yes.
no pain,
Mhm.
getting up in the morning and having the energy because you're not schlepping around as much weight. This isn't about you're beautiful. You can be beautiful at any size.
Mhm.
I don't know if you follow that one gal, her name is Remy. She's a heavier set gal, plus size model on TikTok and Instagram, and she's just like blown up through like all social media.
Mhm.
She's a beautiful person. There's
Mhm.
beautiful models. And I love the fact that we do have models of every shape and size to represent
Yes.
beauty. And
Mhm.
I think that we need to separate beauty from health. You can be
Absolutely.
beautiful at
Mhm.
any shape or size.
Mhm.
You can do yoga at any shape or size and do the
Right.
splits and do the Chinese splits or whatever they call them, the outside splits. You can
Mhm.
do all these things, but is that heart healthy? Is your cholesterol where it needs to
Right.
be? And so I think that we need to separate beauty and body positivity from pure health. And because I think that people get negative on weight loss.
Mhm.
I think that people get like, oh, well, all you care about is being thin. And I don't think that that's it, like at
No.
all.
I mean,
It's
I
not
was
it.
at a point where I was uncomfortable tying my shoes.
Yes.
I was at a point where I remember this. I was sitting in my Jeep and I could feel the seat belt digging into my side.
Yeah.
And when you're that uncomfortable, you know something's not right. It's not
Yeah.
feeling good about yourself. It's not it's just physical pain where and you're the only one that can do something about it with help and guidance from a medical professional or someone that specializes in that. And that's where I was like, I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what else to do. Luckily, my husband, thank God for him, loves me no matter what. He never,
Same.
ever, ever once made me feel bad about my size, about how I looked, or even how I felt about myself. He never once said anything negative ever. He told me, "You
Yeah.
are beautiful." And
I
that's
love that.
important.
I love that.
Mhm.
I talked about that in my last podcast. One of about how shaming someone into weight loss never
Yeah.
works.
Right.
Um, they have to do it themselves. But were there any negative side effects mentally, emotionally, physically when you did get on the shot?
My initial ones were the constipation. Oh, it was horrendous.
Mhm.
And I just had to learn to work through that, learn what to take, supplements and things like that, which I really don't have it as much now. And I learned what I can and can't eat. Like I can't eat greasy foods, fried foods. It makes me nauseous.
Oh,
I
okay.
did get a few headaches in the beginning, but I couldn't tell if that was menopause or if it was the shot. So certain things you just tolerate.
Or
But if it
blood
would have been
sugar. I
too
mean,
bad,
if you were eating that less food, your body could have been like, "Wait, where's our 4,000 calories that we're used
exactly.
to,
Yeah.
too?" I mean, that
Hmm.
that could
Yeah.
very well have been the thing too for the
And then
headaches.
as I lost weight, I've been getting colder, which I'm in Florida. I'm in Southwest Florida, and it's freaking hot here. I mean, right now, it's like 82 degrees, I think,
Mhm.
78, no, 78. And I'm sitting here with pants on because I'm chilly. I know
Yeah.
it sounds crazy, but those are pretty much the only things. But I've heard other people that say they can't take it. But they're finding that it does have other positive side effects like the addiction. It's helping people with heart issues also. So we're
Really?
learning more and more positive things that are coming from it, which I think are fantastic. Now, my daughter had gastric bypass. She
Okay.
literally lost half of her body weight and she's been
Wow.
able to maintain it. But she knows the different things like a dumping syndrome. She can't eat too much because it just
Yeah, it goes
um
right through you.
but she did what she had to do. There are other issues in her life that she has to maintain, but this is one less thing. And if
Yeah.
it's a tool that works for you, use it. Use it.
I just think that we're getting to the point in America anyways, where we need to start looking around and saying, we are now because of our food,
Mhm.
supply,
Mhm.
because of what's at the grocery store, we are having to almost, like, go around that because if you eat the American diet, you're gonna gain weight. Like,
Yep.
I am amazed at how little I eat, I'll be honest with
Yes.
you. Like,
Yeah.
when I see anyone eating a normal plate of food or, like, I'll drive by, like, fast food and see stuff like a Big Mac. If I ate a
Yeah.
Big Mac, it would, like I might as well just plaster it on the front of me.
Exactly. I
I'm
feel disgusting.
amazed. Yeah, well, I'm just amazed at how much food in America we tell ourselves is a normal amount of food. Like,
Yeah.
what shows up when you're at a restaurant as a plate of food is
Mhm.
probably what you need in like a day and a quarter.
Right, right.
Like
Yes.
all day today and tomorrow morning, that's
Mhm.
enough calories, fat, and all that to
Yeah.
sustain a human body. I just think that where we're at, we have gotten so lost with what we're supposed to eat or how much we're supposed to eat. It's almost impossible to gauge.
Right.
Where, you know what I mean? Like I tell people all the time, I will eat an apple and peanut butter for dinner and I am good. But
Absolutely, absolutely. Like last night, I said, "We have to clean out the refrigerator, take out all the leftovers," because I still have that mindset where I'm cooking for more than just 2 people. It's been years,
mhm,
but I still cook way too much. So even when we go out to eat, a lot of times we'll split a meal, and it's 2
100%.
full-grown adults.
Yep.
So it's like, why? I used to laugh about seniors that did that. Now I'm doing it, and it's like, I understand, it makes sense.
It makes
There's
sense.
just
Well, you
too
don't
much.
need that much food.
Right,
Like when we were out with the couple on Saturday, they split one meal between the two of them.
right.
And they actually didn't even finish the steak. So between two grown adults,
Mhm.
they split one steak and didn't even finish it. And
Yep.
that was probably the proper amount of
Yeah.
calories and protein and fat to
Mhm.
ingest alongside with, the sides that we got.
Mhm.
Um, but I think that we're just our brains, the bigger, the faster, the cheaper in
Right.
America. Like we want to
Mhm.
supersize everything. And then that's okay. I got my good deal, right?
Right.
I
Right.
think that we think that we're getting a good deal, but we're actually shorting ourselves
Yeah.
because we're just getting fatter and fatter and fatter as a nation
We
and
want the
more
most
now.
value for our money. So I saw a meme the other day. It was actually a video on TikTok. You may have seen it and it just cracked me up. Maybe it was a picture on Facebook, but it was a picture of a woman sitting in a Costco food area with an entire pumpkin pie and a fork just eating it. And I thought, you know what? That's actually pretty smart because the pies are $5.99. How much do you spend on
Right?
a one piece at Cheesecake Factory of a piece of
Oh,
pie?
forget it. Yeah.
So eat the whole pie. Eat as much as you want, and then give the rest to your neighbor. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like
Throw it away, whatever.
we got a whole pie for just 2 of us, and I'm like, if we each eat 1 or 2 pieces, it's worth it.
Yeah,
It's
but
worth
can
it.
you throw it away? That's the thing, a lot of people
Mhm.
can't throw it away,
Right.
and I get that. I
Mhm.
get the dozen donuts and you just have a little piece and a
Yeah.
half a donut and a
Mhm.
quarter of a donut, and before you know it, you've eaten 7 donuts, like, that's
Yeah.
my jam, like, I'm a donut girl.
I'm a donut girl too. Oh my
Oh, I'm a
god.
donut girl. It must be from living, like, by
Giant Eagle
Lorraine.
glazed donuts were the best.
The Giant
Mhm.
Eagle had the world's greatest donuts. So Janet and I both grew up in North, Ohio, so we both came from the same town. We know exactly what we're
Yeah.
talking
Giant
about.
Eagle donuts, man.
The best. Like, see, I'm a cream filled girl. Like,
Mhm.
I'm a custard filled donut girl.
Yeah.
But
That's where I
yeah, I
got my
mean,
Becky weight. I'd get it
y-
stopped, drop the other kids off at school, and get a newspaper and a donut at Giant Eagle on the way home.
uh,
Yeah.
see, that's like cigarettes and coffee. I mean,
Mhm.
there's some things in life that just do not compare, and we're talking those things. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just think that we need to stop equating with more is better. I mean,
Mhm.
we're definitely in that. I mean, do you remember, and I think this speaks to mentality. Do you remember, when we were kids? So you and I grew up in the, late 70s and 80s. We graduated right around each other's time of the,
Mhm.
90s and late 80s, where you would go like, shopping for school and get a few things. You'd
Mhm.
get like a pair of dress shoes, maybe
Yep.
one pair of sneakers,
Mhm.
one pair of jeans, a couple tops, a
Yeah.
sweater. Like that was it, right?
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't get anything else till Christmas
Or spring.
and or spring.
Mhm.
And then, jeans were very expensive. Now it's like the throwaway society where you just go to Old Navy and you just keep buying shit all the time, and
Yeah.
shit's cheap, and you order shit on Amazon and shit through Sheen, and
Literally.
it's just
Yeah.
constant, like, influx of purchasing and
Stuff.
purchasing and ingesting and like,
Mhm.
Starbucks, $5, $10, drinks. And I just think that we're at this place, and I don't know if it's everywhere in the world because I only live here, where it is this concept of purchasing,
Mhm.
buying, having, accumulating,
Yeah.
eating. I mean, I remember when we were in high school, to go to like TGI Fridays was a big
Yes.
deal.
Yeah,
That
I
was
just
like
had this conversation with Rick. I said, "I don't ever remember going out to eat with my parents, like, ever. The entire time
ever,
I was growing up. Never.
ever, ever. And
I
my kids
remember
are
when they built McDonald's and Burger King, and that
yeah,
was, like, the big thing.
that was the
"Oh my
big
gosh,
thing.
we're going to McDonald's. We're going to
Yeah, or
Burger
you'd
King."
go to Stella's. Like Stella's
Yeah,
was like I
that
went
was
to
my first
Stella's with my
job.
dad. Yeah, really?
Yeah, I
Every
was a
Tuesday.
dishwasher.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So this is like a spaghetti joint where the
Mhm.
town that we grew up in. But like that was a big deal to go out for spaghetti and meatballs. Like
Mhm.
a big
Yep.
deal to go out for dinner. Now our kids, like they want to go out
Expect
for
it.
lunch, they want to go out for dinner.
Yeah.
It's constantly
Mhm.
ingesting, buying.
Right.
I don't know if we as a whole have more money or things are cheaper.
I
I,
don't
I don't
know.
know what it is, but like you'd go to prom or you'd go to homecoming. Like, so those are the big things, right? And you'd
Mhm.
go to like that one nice restaurant.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
these
You get
kids, they
dressed
want to
up.
go out to dinner
Yeah, no.
all the time. Like it's buying. I need
I
the
think
latest
it
this.
it minimizes the importance of it. It demeans the
Mhm.
importance of it. Just like people that are not utilizing these weight loss methods correctly,
Well,
because now this is a weight loss method and they're doing it for vanity purposes, not for health purposes. I did it for health purposes because my cholesterol was sky high, my blood sugar was high, I was borderline diabetic. And if we can minimize all those other things and utilize the things correctly, then I think we'd be better off.
yeah. And so when you got done, and like you said, you're using this as a tool to retrain yourself how to eat
Yes.
and how to see food, right? So
Mhm.
so then you did your weight loss.
Mhm.
When did you decide to do the tummy tuck?
I decided once I reached a certain weight that, I mean, I've wanted it for years, and then the bigger I got, the more stretched out my skin even got. I mean, I was bigger at my heaviest than I was anytime during any of my 3 pregnancies.
Yeah.
So it just kept, and I could feel the burn of my skin as it stretched,
Mm,
and it hurt. It was painful.
yeah.
So I decided I'm going to save money and I'm getting a tummy tuck. And I did my research, and then the next goal was I need to lose the weight. So once I got close to my goal weight, that's when I started talking to doctors because I knew I could save the money and I knew I could do the goal once I saw some progress. Then
Yeah.
I said, okay, I'm on my way. I can do this. So that's when we scheduled it, and I'm happy I did it. No matter what
Yeah.
anybody says, I've had people say, "You got a tummy tuck? Why did you do that? You look just fine. You didn't need it." Well, you may see me from a different angle, but I
Yeah.
see me from my skin
Yeah.
inside.
Well, and you had said prior to hitting record today that they also had to do the muscle repair. And a lot of people don't understand that
Yes.
a lot of women are
Mhm.
not doing tummy tucks just to get a flat stomach. A lot of
Right.
women need to do tummy tucks or will improve their health, their well being, their
Mhm.
ability to work out. Because when you have pregnancies, a lot of times what happens is that the muscles inside your abdomen
It
tear
separates.
apart and
Yeah.
separate.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so,
Yeah.
so when you get your tummy tuck, they are not just lipoing. And you said you didn't
Exactly.
even have
Nope,
lipo.
I didn't have any lipo. My doctor doesn't do lipo with the tummy tuck because she is more concerned about the health of her patients and the possible blood loss and other complications that could come from that. She would do it on the flanks and the
Mhm.
hips and the butt, but she won't do it around the abdomen at that time. But how they determine the space of your I forgot what exactly it's called, but the muscle,
Mhm.
erecti diastasis, I think is what it's called. But they can take your 2 fingers, and if you have 2 fingers or more of a gap, that's when they know there's a big enough gap to stitch up. And there's different techniques. They can just do it that way. Then there's an internal corset where they can do it around the outside also to give you more of an hourglass shape. I
Mhm.
just had the standard hip to hip incision with the traditional sutures. But she
Yeah.
said there wasn't a huge gap, but there was a big enough one where if you lean back and put your hand on your abdomen, you can
Ah,
literally feel a space in that
yeah.
muscle area.
Yeah.
So,
So, did insurance cover that because of the muscle? Isn't that crazy? So, like,
yeah,
imagine if you were talking to a guy and you were like, "Oh, yeah, my stomach, the muscle the
yeah.
muscles don't touch. They're
Well,
actually separated in between." It'd be like, "Oh, well, that sounds very significant. That sounds like
yeah,
something they should probably get fixed." And it's like, "No, that's for vanity." What?
yeah. I know a guy that actually had to have it done, and he said it was horrendously painful for him, and
Giggled,
I didn't say
giggle,
anything
giggle,
like,
right?
"Okay."
But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of women that have had this surgery because it does. I mean, think about everything when you do go work out and they're like, okay, tighten your core, tighten your core, tighten your core. Well,
Yeah,
that is a huge problem that you cannot tighten your core in the
right.
same way of someone that does not have
Yep.
that issue. So when they do sew the muscle back together, you have an entirely new experience for your core,
Mhm.
from your ab workout, from the way that you carry
Yeah.
yourself. And I don't know if anyone here has ever gone to like physical therapy or not, but I am here to tell you that it is unbelievable how important core and balance and
Mhm.
muscle and all that is to health and longevity. So,
Mhm.
like, you having a solid core literally probably changes your life expectancy based
Yep.
on not falling, then not breaking a hip, being
Mhm.
able to hold yourself up as you age. So,
Yeah.
it's like one more thing besides the pelvic floor issues
Mhm.
that women deal with that a lot of times we don't even know that
Right.
we have this issue, that will improve because of, things like this surgery. So
Yeah.
good for you. Plus you feel better, like you put on pants
Absolutely.
and
I
everything
know.
falls
Absolutely. Mhm.
to the right way. So that's huge. Now you said that you're going from Mounjaro. I'm
Mounjaro
saying
to
Mounjaro.
yeah, it's called, Zepbound,
Mhm.
and it's also made by Eli Lilly,
Okay.
and it'll be a once a week injection for the rest of my life, which I'm fine with because it's you can't even feel it, just
Okay. Do you do it
pinch.
yourself?
Yeah,
Did
it's an
you do the
auto
Mounjaro?
pen. Yeah,
Okay.
it's an auto pen. You just click the top and pinch an inch and push the button down, and you can't even feel it. I do
Yeah.
it in a thigh or my belly, and you literally can't feel it. Plus, my belly's still numb where they did the incision, so I can't feel
Mhm.
it anyways there. So it's
So
fine.
take advantage of it.
Hmm.
So, and then these things will help you to keep the cravings down
Yep. The
and
the food
all of that.
noise.
The food noise. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I talked to someone else who's going to be on who has done the gastric bypass, who now is on one of these medications
Hmm.
and is going to be discussing the difference between the two. And because when you do get, and maybe you can speak to this if your daughter has talked to you, when you do the gastric bypass, the food noise is still there.
Hmm. Yep.
That, and I think that's a huge difference is when you have that food noise and you can't eat
Right.
because your
Yep.
stomach literally won't allow you to eat.
Yep.
And so you want to eat. Your brain is telling you to eat. You've
Mhm.
done nothing to learn to
Right.
not eat. And
Yeah.
I
Her
think
problem is
that's
she does go through that where she'll eat and she'll see food and she's like, "Oh my god, that looks so good. I want some of that. I want some of that." And then if she eats too much, it's called dumping syndrome.
yep.
And it
Yep.
sticks at the top and then all of a sudden whoosh or
Yep.
it comes back out.
Yep. And
So,
yeah, and I think that that's where we're going to get into moving away from the gastric bypass or doing the gastric bypass in conjunction with, because
yes.
the person that I'm going to have on is going to be talking about the negative medical, physical side effects of the gastric bypass, because you're cutting your stomach off in
Right.
many of these cases. And
Mhm.
there are negative consequences to this. And you still have the food noise. So you still
Exactly.
want to eat it. You
Right.
haven't done like, whereas your brain is getting retrained. I remember when I was in my early 20s and I was on like an antidepressant or a mood regulator. And I remember taking it and going, okay, this is like what happy is. This is what not anxious is. This is what,
Mhm.
and I remember really checking in with those feelings.
Mhm.
And it's almost like you're doing with the tools. Like, I need to put my fork down. I do not need to
Yep.
eat this meal
Mhm.
3,000 miles an hour. I do not
Yeah.
need to order the biggest, most fatteningest, most
Mhm.
butteriest
Yeah.
thing on the menu. You're literally retraining that you don't need to have 17 bottles of wine on the weekend. Not that you did, but
Right.
you're retraining
Yep.
what ingesting looks like.
Yeah.
I don't think the same thing happens with these folks that are getting the
No,
gastric
I
bypass.
don't think it does either because they also have other things to deal with because they have had this mindset and the ability to eat for so long, so
Yes.
much, and then suddenly it's shut off. I can still eat a
Right.
lot, but
Yes.
they can't.
Yes.
So, like, she has since she lost all of her weight, she has so much loose skin,
Yeah.
and she's trying to get a tummy tuck covered because she does have physical issues because of all the loose skin, the
Yeah.
rashes, the infections, and all of that. Mine was for me, so I didn't expect my insurance to cover it. I get it,
And you
but
lost gradually. I mean,
yes,
you lost a lot, but it
yes,
was still more gradual than you can
yeah,
eat a tenth of a cracker at
mhm,
a time. You could
right,
still, so you weren't like you said, drastically fast, no
mhm.
choice of your own,
No,
no option to
baby
eat an
food, no,
yeah,
she had to do that, baby food and liquid diet and all that stuff, and I didn't have to.
yeah,
Mine was, you just don't want to, like,
yeah,
literally don't want to. You're like, "I just don't want it." We
yeah,
would get home chef meals, and you get 2, and I would eat half of mine, and he would eat his, and then the other half of mine would be my lunch or dinner the next day.
yeah,
So it's multiple meals from one meal. And I was fine with that. Or something just your smell changes, how things affect you as far as your smell. And that's really important too. My
mhm,
taste, I think, has changed a little bit as far as how food tastes to me. But it's just, and the people who shame people for things like that, for losing weight, I did it with a prescription. My
yeah,
daughter did it with the advice of a doctor.
yeah.
But and I think we've done it a healthy way. I haven't starved myself, I haven't made myself sick. I've done it a healthy way.
Yeah, it just turned off that you need to have all of this. You need to
Mhm,
have all of this now. You need to have the
mhm,
most fattening of this. Cause I know
right,
that I have people in my life that I love very much. And when they go into a restaurant, it's not like, oh, I'm going to have chicken and mashed potatoes and broccoli. It's I'm going to have a hamburger with a side of lobster mac and cheese and an IPA beer. Like it's the
yeah,
most
yep,
fattening is because
mhm,
that is going to make me the most happy.
right,
And that is something that is in your brain. And that is
mhm,
a pathway that is not easy to undo.
right, right. We went out the other day, and there's a little local restaurant here, and we always get their breadsticks. They're amazing, I love them. So
Mhm.
they come with 3. I had 1, that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
And then I ordered wings, which I never order wings. I had 4.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean as far as it changes
Just like,
how much
"Beep."
you eat. Just
Yeah.
like, "I'm done," and you just stop.
Yeah. I think that, like, talking about this, it just makes sense that the direction in which the healthcare of people to lose weight is going to move probably away from surgery. Because, like, let's say surgery is $40,000. That's a lot of shots.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? And it's a
mhm,
lot of shots in a very healthy way. It's a lot of shots that is not impeding a person's ability to eat and absorb nutrients, et cetera, et cetera. And it's going to be more gradual. So
right,
I think that we're going to see that it's going to shift to these types of opportunities of medication versus surgery. But this is how we learn as a society of what works. And the
Mhm.
fact that you can be on this stuff for the rest of your life in a positive way, keep your sugar down, keep your cholesterol down, keep your
Yep.
blood pressure down, like that is so much easier on your heart, on your lungs, on your knees, now you're not going
Mhm.
to have knee replacement, hip
Exactly.
replacement.
Right.
There's so many
Mhm.
positives.
Right.
I mean, I just took my dog in and she had overeaten because I didn't know how much to feed her. And
Mhm.
they're like, you don't understand how important it is when your dog is a puppy to make sure that she is a good, healthy, light weight because
Yes.
of the long-term effects of having a fat puppy. And I was
Mhm.
like, no one's saying that
Yes.
at the pediatrician's office.
Mhm. And
No
I
one's
worry about
saying that.
kids. I
Yeah.
worry about kids and, they start off with this just eating whatever and junk food because they're home alone and
Yeah.
they're left to their own devices because parents have to work
Yep.
and they're not given the necessarily as much guidance,
Yeah.
because I ran the kids' cafeteria when they went to St. Thomas. I was in
Mhm.
charge of it. I did all the cooking. I ordered the foods, and there are guidelines that the government sets for food lunches. It's
Yeah.
not very healthy,
No.
and we're not doing our kids right
Any
by them
favors.
by doing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're setting them up for failure.
Well, again, as I talked about in a couple episodes ago, what we believe is food is not really food.
Mhm.
It's not food.
Right.
It's chemicals that are globbed on and added together, and we call it food. But
How
is
has
it
your
food?
opinion changed about
Uh,
food and what it does as fuel and not just comfort?
as my journey has, well,
Yes.
my goal in a day is to eat half of my weight in protein
Okay.
milligrams or grams or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess it'd be grams. So like, my protein yogurt is 12. And so my goal has changed from uh ingesting for being full
Mhm.
to very purposeful.
Okay.
So my food decisions are very mindful. So I'll have, raspberries with protein yogurt and like a little bit of granola for crunch. Or so I'm very mindful about what I'm eating because I know sounds crazy. I know that it's actually a lot of food,
Mhm.
and I don't want to eat shit. I just don't. Like
Right.
yesterday, I went to my daughter's thing, and this volleyball, banquet, and I had a cookie. And honestly, I skipped the salad because I knew it was just like going to be like not really interesting, and I was just going to be ingesting dressing. So I was
Yeah.
like, I'm just going to skip that. And then I
Mhm.
had all this beautiful steamed vegetable, so I ate a ton of that. And I
Mhm.
got a chicken breast, and I took one bite, and it didn't taste good, so I skipped. I didn't eat that on my
Yep.
plate. But then there was bread with delicious butter, but I ate that. So I like was really picking and choosing of
Mhm.
this tastes good and that is healthy and I only want to ingest so many calories. And then I got like a cookie, a brownie, and another small like cookie. And I ate the small cookie and left everything else. Like, so I'm
Mhm.
really mindful. It's almost like
Yep.
playing chess. Like,
Yep.
okay, I do want that. I don't want that. I'm okay with eating
Mhm.
that. And also, I know that I'm not ingesting any booze, which is
Mhm.
hundreds of bullshit calories of
Right.
sugar.
Right.
So in a week, in a day, in a month, I have to eat actually a lot to keep up
Mhm.
with my
Make up
three
for it.
plus miles of walking, to
Yeah.
keep up with the size of my physical form, and to keep up with the fact that I'm not drinking booze anymore. So it's kind of funny. I'm very mindful about what I ingest. I'm very strategic about junk and not junk, and
Mhm.
should I eat, that salad dressing or oil? Like
Right.
so I'm just very mindful about it
Mhm.
because I like being my size right now.
I know,
I
and I
like
think
it.
that's it, is once you see those results, you see what you can do to keep those results. And
Yeah.
like, I enjoy being able to put on a bikini again.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever feeling comfortable in my own body because it's been so long. So,
Yeah.
like, I was wearing a T-shirt and it said "Beautiful Badass" on it, and I forgot
Mhm.
where I was, and this woman stopped me and she said, "You are a beautiful badass," and I was like,
Mm.
"Well, thank you." it just made me feel so good. I
Yeah.
feel good about myself, but to have somebody else see that in me, not that what other people see or say
But
matters, but sometimes it does
she
make you
got
feel
it.
good,
Yeah,
you
she got it.
know?
Well, I think what's interesting too, but between the two of us, um, is and I'm gonna speak for myself and you agree or disagree. I find it really cool to feel beautiful, to be comfortable in our own skin, and to have the wisdom of age all
Mhm,
at the same time. Because I know I
mhm.
looked better
Yeah.
physically, my body, when I was 17, when I was
Mhm.
22, whatever. But to
Right.
have the complete package in my
Yes.
50s
Mhm.
is really fun.
Yes.
It's really
Absolutely.
fun, and to have a couple bucks to actually buy the clothes, right? Because
Exactly.
I didn't have
Right,
any money
right.
to buy
Mhm.
the clothes when I was
And
17. So
and
it's
now
nice to
our kids are
ha
older too, and we
yeah,
can actually relate to them on a different
mhm,
level because we feel better about ourselves. We're a little bit more secure in ourselves and who we
yeah,
are and where we've come from with the experiences. And to be able to relate and have that relationship with our adult kids. Like you just got
yeah,
to see your daughter and
yep.
it was much better, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had so much
And she's
fun. It
gotten
was
older
great.
and, I think
And
it's
we were
great.
walking, we were doing all the things. She's like, "Oh my god, mom, I fit in your dress." And I was like, "Yes." Like,
Isn't
it
that
feels
great?
yeah, it feels really good and it feels comfortable, and I like being me. I think
Mhm.
I like being me for the first time probably in my whole life as like I said, as the complete package.
Yes. Yep.
Confidence and, socially, emotionally, spiritually, physically, like it's all coming together
Mhm.
for me,
Yep.
by me,
Yep.
not sabotaging myself. All of the things that I think it's very magical. And I think that women that are doing the work and having the self-care and taking the time like you and I are on ourselves,
Mhm.
um, we have a lot to offer. We have a lot to offer the people around us. So I so appreciate you being here and sharing your story
Well, thank
and
you.
what you have been going through over this past year, to get yourself to being that badass that you are,
Mhm.
celebrating your 55th birthday tomorrow in such a
Thank you.
beautiful, amazing, healthy way. And, hopefully people that are listening to this today can maybe to have a conversation with their doctor, find out if this is right for them, maybe take that first step in a health journey, not
Mhm.
necessarily a weight loss journey, but a health
Right.
journey of picking the right foods, going for the walks, drinking the water, eating the proteins, and all of the other things with the help of a doctor or whatever is necessary for them. So, again, thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
your story with everybody. I
Thank you for the
appreciate it.
communication because I think that's very important. It's gotta start with communication. That's important.
Yeah, and do this now. Like if you're out there listening to this and you're in your 30s or whatever, like
Mhm.
get ahead of it. Like
Right.
don't wait. Like if you can
Yeah.
get in these good habits in 30s and 20s and,
Mhm.
18, get in those
Yeah.
good habits now of, taking care of yourself because it
And we
makes it a
learn so
whole
much from
yeah,
each other, like
yeah,
this, like you
yeah,
doing this. I think this is important because people wouldn't know some of these things that you're telling them unless it was for you. I mean, you've done
yeah,
this. So I'm
yeah.
proud of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. I will be back here next time. At same time, same sandbox. So I'll see you here next week. Thanks so much,
Okay.
Janet.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Meredith.
Thanks for listening. If you would like to connect on a more personal level, head over to meredithwillits.com or on Instagram at Meredith with a Y for behind the scene footage and outtakes. Please subscribe and come back each week for more Meredith with a Y. Thanks again for listening. Cheers.